Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SE-Talk. Bei mir wieder ein Startinterview. Das heißt, ich kenne die Firma eigentlich nicht. Ich kann also nicht sagen, ob die jetzt gut, schlecht, ob ich gleich kaufen werde, wenn das Interview vorbei ist. Wobei das tue ich in der Regel nicht. Ich bespreche das dann meistens am nächsten Tag noch in einer regulären SE-Ausgabe und dann sage ich, was mache ich in dem Stock oder mit dem Stock. Warum ich das auch machen kann, ist, weil das alles Kunden von meinem also von meinem Hauptgeschäft ist, nämlich IAW Press. Und die sind Kunden bei uns, die Blackhawk Growth, und die sind in einem sehr interessanten Sektor drinnen. Ihr wisst, ich interessiere mich für Cannabis. Überhaupt seit den letzten Wochen, wo ja jetzt wieder ein Riesenzug in den Segment reinkommen ist. Und ich will einfach mal schauen, ob die Company was für uns ist. Und ich habe einen CEO da, einen Frederick Pels, und er wird uns die Company jetzt einmal vorstellen. Die WKN, warum ist das da herinnen? So, ups, das schaut nicht so gut aus. Dann haben wir das wieder weg. Die WKN ist A2QJN3. So. Frederick, thank you. Do you have time? I know it is a public holiday in Canada today. Not also in Canada, also in the US. And thank you for your time. I said in my German introduction, you are a client of our sister company, IRW Press. And we do all the translation stuff for you. And I'm interested and I'm happy to can present you as a company to my subscribers of SmallCap-Investor. And I'm interested in the cannabis space. We was very active 3 years ago. Then, the downtrend. But in the last 3 months, 4 months, I think now the correction is over and we are ready to take off, especially then with US new president, new rules will come in, hopefully on federal law. And that's the reason why we come up to you. And the second reason is also, and that was the first time where I come to your stock, is that you have a relationship or agreement with the other company that are a client from us, Enwave. You have a press release, I think it was in May, that you have agreement with them, and you work with one of your portfolio companies with Enwave. But before we go a little bit deeper and talk about the single parts of your company, can you give us a rough overview about your company?
Yeah, of course. So thank you for having me, Joe.
Thank you. And thank you. It's a public holiday. Sorry about this. I don't know this in the beginning.
CEOs don't get holidays, not good ones anyway. Blackhawk Growth is an investment issuer that's listed in Frankfurt on the ticker is OJJ. We trade in Canada, and we also trade on the OTCQB in the United States. We're an investment issuer. Our main focus is emerging industries, product innovation, product solutions, effectively. For the last year, we've had a number of initiatives that have been incubating and are now moving forward to cash flow. We're in the cannabis space. We're in the psychedelic space. We're also in CBD and a few various peripherals from all those industries, and each subsidiary has an effective solution for many of the current problems in those industries. And I can go into them anytime. I don't want to. as a high level, that is Blackhawk Growth.
Okay, so can a subscriber, you have a portfolio of a lot of companies or some companies, and they are working in these areas. And what are the most interesting? I know you invest, all the portfolio companies are interesting for you, but what is the most exciting company in the portfolio?
Well, they really are all exciting, and they're quite correlated. They all work off of each other. So I'll start with our revenue drivers. And you can sort of take me through what you'd like to hear more about. My background is in the cannabis industry. I was one of the pioneers in Canada key stakeholder in legalization, and retail was my specialty. Throughout the whole process, I was always bullish on the US market. So I effectively always wanted to attain something stateside. So what we did, we targeted California production. We acquired a 15,000 square foot licensed California cannabis production company called Sac Pharma. Sac Pharma is the exclusive provider of dried flower to a brand by the name of Scoops. Very well recognized brand. We have proprietary genetics, and therefore, because the brand is now dependent on these genetics, our crops are sold out effectively before they're grown. We started staggering the crop time. So we actually bring down 1.5 crops every month, which allow for a steady stream of revenue between around 130 to 150,000 US each month. And that's at current production levels. And we've been providing that month over month. And we intend to grow that as well. So they're willing to take more product than we are able to produce.
Okay. And do you have the chance to grow this?
Sorry?
Do you have the chance to grow the production?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's, what any good business will do. It'll find methods. So there's growth in the cannabis industry can mean a few different levels. So there's growth by square footage. So we can either stack the current facility and do a 2-tiered grow. We can find a site B and continue the indoor. Site C, which would be an outdoor grow. And we can also grow in terms of licenses. So right now we have a cultivation license. We're able to obtain a non-storefront delivery, production. We're looking at quite a few methods of expansion for Sac Pharma, just given its performance. But yes, it's absolutely possible to expand.
So, and do you planning something for this year?
We are, yeah.
Okay, but you cannot say exactly in which direction you go.
I don't want to say we're planning. All of those vehicles of expansion we've explored and are currently exploring. The feasibility of them is what's going to dictate which route we choose, if it's one or all, or some combination of. But the path is being explored currently in all those directions, and we want to make sure that the one we choose or the ones we do choose are the most feasible moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, back to the U.S. cannabis space, we also have a wonderful CBD hemp line by the name of Nobel Hemp. They have been growing 30% month over month. It's a very cost-effective business to run. We do not have any production requirements, any infrastructure or growth requirements. We use third parties to manufacture the product to our specifications, and also third-party distributors to get it out. It's all sold online. It's national in the US. Currently, last month did about 300,000 in sales. And again, that was 30% growth from the month before, which was 30% from the month before that. So this company as well, we are looking at avenues of expansion. I don't think you'll ever see brick and mortar, but we have been looking at using a similar business model overseas, as well as adding a few products, which I cannot speak about, but hopefully we'll have that opportunity soon. They're real, again, bringing solutions. They have these CBD tabs that just melt in your mouth. You put them in, they can be flavorless or mint, as well as the usual tinctures and methods of ingesting CBD. Great effective product, getting a lot of attention right now stateside.
Okay, but you do this online,
Online, yeah. Yes. There's very limited amount of capital required to run a business like that, and so we're pretty happy with the performance of it.
That's a good point. What is the margin on it when you sell it on?
70%.
70%. Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
The margins are phenomenal, and the growth has been explosive. So we don't really even know how far it can go, but we're willing to push it to see where we end up with this company. Yeah. But it's really growing fast.
And with CBD, you don't have these problems with only on one state, and you cannot sell it in the other state, and so on. So CBD, it's nationwide, not really a problem.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nationwide sales, and that's why I think you're seeing such tremendous growth, as a much larger population than what we're used to in Canada. The product's good, the marketing's good. It will continue.
But you sell this only in the US, not in Canada.
Only in the US. Yes.
Do you plan to bring it over to Canada too?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Not in the current climate. No. Canada's a lot more regulated than the United States. The whole process changed. There's only so many approved genetics. There's only so many approved methods of administration, and it's also a controlled substance in Canada. So certain licensing needs to be obtained. If you remember from the old cannabis days, it's rather capital and labor intensive to obtain this licensing. The marketplace is relatively small. So you only have about 25 to 30 million people in Canada, and a small percentage of that use CBD. So the market is already quite saturated up here for that type of product. So I don't see it in Canada, but I do see it in the UK and maybe Europe one day. It's been lightly discussed. We haven't made any shifts, but it's in our peripherals to look at the European market.
Yeah, and in the moment it's better you be focused on US, and US is big enough to do their work though. So
yeah, we have a pretty good infrastructure in place there, and yes, we do want to focus, but it's always nice to look forward to what else you can do.
Absolutely. Okay, you have other portfolio companies.
Yes, so another one that we're very excited about. It's pre-revenue right now, but we are just waiting for our definitive agreement with a Canadian distributor that has all this licensing. It's Canadian LP, licensed producer, that is already publicly traded. Can't disclose who they are quite yet, but it's for a space food line, which is something we're also working to launch in the US in tandem. This licensed producer has agreed to purchase 100,000 units of this product initially, and ramping up to 500,000 units a month by mid-year 2021. And what it is, speaking of your friends at N-Wave, we licensed their technology and are making shelf-stable cannabis-infused cheesecake, donuts, and shelf-stable ice cream. So needs no refrigeration, doesn't go bad, can stay on cannabis shelves. One of the biggest issues in cannabis edibles in Canada has been, and the US, has been their shelf life. It creates a problem for retailers because they potentially might be selling a spoiled product, and that doesn't look good on anybody. And it's a big problem for manufacturers, because as you go through the licensing process of testing and then distribution, and then sitting on the shelf for consumer to buy, there is a lot of value loss there that this solves. And that's number one. Number two, it's an extremely innovative product. There's nothing like it on the market currently. Everything is very candy or chocolate based. You have gummies and chocolate bars. These are the common SKUs that you see in any cannabis store. This really brings something unique, and it's very in demand.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking to launch that for the end of March in Canada and US shortly after that.
Okay, but this means you need this agreement before, when it will start in March.
We have right now signed a term sheet, and the definitive agreement is in process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they will start. They produce for you, or you produce it?
So we have an agreement with a production firm in Alberta, Canada, mm-hmm. And one in British Columbia as mm-hmm. well to manufacture it, and then they purchase it from them.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, but they do the distribution and have all the license, but you have a company that produce for you the stuff. So, not you produce the stuff. You don't invest in all these machines. What you need to do.
We do own the equipment. We do own the technology. Mm-hmm. And yes, it's then put into these other facilities and they manufacture it. Yeah.
Okay. But this is also capital intensive. How do you finance this?
Well, the biggest part of it is the N-Wave equipment. Mm-hmm. The team there has been pretty good at working with us. Mm-hmm. And we do have pretty good revenues coming in now from Sac Pharma and Nobel Hemp. We're on a revenue-based expansion model right now. So as long as the money is coming in, we're able to continue to execute.
Okay. But this brings me to another point. The portfolio companies, what you have, what your percentage have on these companies? Are they 100% owned or
100% owned of all the ones that I mentioned.
Okay. So from Sac, Nobel, and Space Food, 100%.
100%.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Interesting. Very interesting. This brings me to another point. I know you have other companies too, and a lot of other companies. But then I look previous to the shareholder structure. And how many shares are outstanding?
There's just over 19 million shares outstanding.
19. Yeah. But you're trading with 62 cents is on closing on Friday, so that's mean your market cap is only 13-14 million.
Yeah, it's a very good buying opportunity. We're trading effectively below 1x revenue.
Then this is interesting. Then when you look to other companies, especially in your area, they're going up like this in the last few weeks, and they have sometimes crazy multiples.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised too. I think we've been ignored as a cannabis company because we are listed as an investment issuer, even though all of our investments are effectively cannabis based. So, looking forward, I think the attention needs to be on these cannabis assets that we do have, because they're some of the best on the public markets. Mm-hmm. And we aren't proving concept. We're at cash flow. Mm-hmm. So it's great buying opportunity, I do feel.
I come back to the spaced food. You say also you will sell this in the US. Do you need some licensings there, or?
So through Sac Pharma, we're able to start in California until federal legalization comes into place or federal decriminalization. You're limited to each state and mm-hmm. their rules. So it's effectively 50 different countries with varying degrees of legalization and different process of licensing. And, we have a pretty good base in California. We're very well connected there. And that will be square one for space food. It's also just happens to be the 5th largest economy in the world. And the population there is, I believe, around 40 million. So great market to start in. And then we'll spread out from there. But yeah, it's one state at a time until federal legalization comes into play.
Okay, this was only 3 companies what we talked so far, and we have already talked 20 minutes. So what is the other or the next best?
The other thing is, for us, we really believe in products that help people, and there is some medical approach that we wanted to take to our next initiative, which was a controlled substances dealer license in Canada through one of our subsidiaries called Trip Pharma. Trip Pharma is 100% owned. It contains a library of genetics for psilocybin mushrooms. The controlled substances dealer license would allow us to manufacture any psychedelics, so psilocybin mushrooms, mescaline, MDMA, ketamine, and effectively give us the ability to distribute and trade it not only in Canada but internationally as well. So it has a licensing application for that. And that's wholly owned by Blackhawk. There's also a clinic that is now open in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. It's called the Light Mind Clinic, and it's 5,000 square feet, multi-practice, led by Dr. Krista Light. She is a 20-year veteran psychiatrist. We also have one psychologist signed on, general practitioners coming. It's a full practice approach. So patients that are looking for alternative psychotherapy can come to the clinic and be presented with a full solution. So start with the root cause and then see if they're a candidate for psychedelic treatments, and that ties into Trip Pharma. Then we have an outlet for the controlled substances that we manufacture. And so Light Mind is 51% owned by Blackhawk and 49% by Dr. Krista Light.
And you plan to make other clinics then too, or is it only to start with one?
Yeah,
and stay with one?
The infrastructure required for this is quite difficult to set up because there are so many practitioners that need to be in place and follow the system. This one just opened up. We are going to be doing some clinical trials as well as looking at how the actual process works, how much in-clinic treatment is required, and then expand from there as well as telemedicine. The less locations we can open and still administer treatment, obviously the better, but I feel that there is a need for a lot of in-clinic visits, and as the reputation grows, it would be beneficial to have at least a few more clinics across Canada.
Frederick, we are close to 25 minutes. So I come to my last question, or 2 last questions. When was your last private placement and which price?
Well, that was almost a year and a half ago. And it was when I took over the company. When I took over as CEO, there was no money in the treasury and no real assets in the company. So we did $1 million raise at about 2 cents.
Okay. This brings me to the share structure.
Okay.
Are you do you have bigger groups of investors or bigger funds or so something?
Well, we do have some pretty sizable investors. We do have a lot of retail as well. With such a tight float, effectively, I know most of the larger shareholders now over the course of the year. And we're looking to see some institutional buying come in and really drive the price up.
Last question. The most important 3 news releases what we can expect from your company in the next 3 to 6 months, or which direction is going?
I mean, from what I can talk about,
sure.
as far as the most impactful is the Space Food definitive agreement with the distributor. You're looking at potential revenues between 500,000 and $1 million monthly. The definitive agreement is a purchase order, essentially. So you can start counting that right on the balance sheet as soon as it's signed. Hopefully we have that signed soon. Of course, the controlled substances dealer license getting approved. Our revenue. We will be updating at some point in early March what our February revenue was. I've had a pretty good showing of growing month over month. Last month was 501,000 for the month of January. We're looking to exceed that this month as well. So hopefully that shows up on the balance sheet and I can continue to deliver this kind of growth. But if you look at our market cap and you look at the revenue that I know this company is going to be putting out every month, I think that will get people's attention very, very quickly.
Frederick, I think thank you for the first introduction to your company. Thank you that you have time on the public holiday in Canada. It was very interesting. I must say, I'm really impressed about what you have here. Thank you for this.
Thanks, Joe.
Ja, das war ein extrem spannendes. Alle, die mich kennen, wissen, dass ich eigentlich jetzt in Cannabis eigentlich mir einiges angeschaut habe auch auf die Empfehlungsliste ein paar Companies gesetzt, die auch abgegangen sind wie Schmitz Katze, also da braucht man nicht reden, die haben 300-400% aus dem Stand gemacht. Die Firma, muss ich ehrlicherweise sagen, war bei mir absolut unterm Radar, obwohl es ein Kunde von ihr wie Prest ist. Aber was er hier hat, das finde ich echt extrem spannend. Also das erste Mal ist, sie sind schon im Revenue. Also sie machen schon Umsatz. Sie machen $500,000 haben sie im ersten Monat, also im Jänner Umsatz gemacht. Das kommt vor allem aus Sac Pharma. Das ist ein Produzent von Blüten, trockenen Blüten in Kalifornien und dort kommt ein Teil runter und die sind eigentlich schon vorab immer ausverkauft. Das zweite große ist Nobel Hemp. Das ist ein CBD-Produkt, das nationalweit verkauft wird in den USA, wird nicht in Kanada verkauft, will er auch gar nicht, weil die Regulatorien dort eigentlich zu problematisch sind. Ein Wahnsinn, die wächst ungefähr 30%, hat er gesagt, von Monat auf Monat. Natürlich wird sie das am Ende einmal abschwächen, das ist klar, weil das nicht mehr geht, aber nur online. Und die Marge ist dementsprechend extrem groß. Sie kaufen das selber, das Produkt zu, branden das und verkaufen ihr Brand sozusagen raus. Aber das richtig Spannende, was jetzt dann wirklich knacken könnte, ist das Space Food. Und da kommt wiederum ein anderer Kunde von mir, wo ich selber schon Aktionär bin, nämlich N-Wave. Die arbeiten mit N-Wave daran, dass sie ihr Produkt, und da geht es um Eatables wieder, also um Donuts, um Eis und alles mögliche andere. Also nicht eben Schokolade, das jetzt üblich ist, oder Gummibärchen oder sowas, sondern halt sie echtes Essen, vom Donuts angefangen bis eben zu Eis. Und da haben sie jetzt einen Deal an der Angel. Er hat gesagt, ab März soll das eigentlich losgehen, da muss also das vorher schon in place sein. Und dort wollen sie zwischen 500 und $1 Million Umsatz pro Monate machen. Also wenn sie das hinkriegen, dann ist das, was sie dort alleine drinnen haben, schon muss ausreichen, damit die Aktie fliegt. Die anderen Dinge haben wir teilweise gar nicht gesprochen. Wir haben ein bisschen über Pharma gesprochen. Da geht es vor allem um die psychedelische, also Pilze eigentlich, die psychoaktiv sind, wo sie sehr stark auch drinnen sind in diesem ganzen Segment und eine Datenbank aufgebaut haben und sehr viele Informationen haben. Also und da soll das quasi kommerzialisiert werden und monetarisiert werden. Und sie haben hier damit auch eine Klinik, die leicht meint. Die haben jetzt die erste Klinik in Alberta. The first clinic you have in Alberta, Edmonton.
Ja.
Edmonton, wo sie eine Klinik wirklich hin haben, also wirklich eine physische Klinik, wo eben die Leute dort hingehen können, therapiert werden können. Und das ist jetzt einmal der Startversuch. Das ist eine 51% Beteiligung nur, währenddessen die anderen eigentlich eine 100% Beteiligung sind. Und jetzt kommen wir eigentlich zu dem Wahnsinn. Er hat gesagt, 19 Millionen Aktien oder sowas sind draußen. Damals waren es scheinbar nur ein bisschen weniger. Und wenn man das dann reinrechnet, dann kommen wir auf eine Marktkapitalisierung, die ist 13 bis 14 Millionen Kann-Dollar. Für das, was momentan am Cannabis-Sektor bezahlt wird, ist das nichts. Also da muss ich ehrlicherweise sagen, ich muss jetzt nur in die Zahlen reingehen, aber das finde ich extrem spannend und ich werde morgen, heute ist der 15. Februar, ich werde morgen wahrscheinlich, also am 16. das Video online bringen, aber ich werde dort, da sieht man schon einen Donut, einmal das mir genauer anschauen und in die SEDA-Files reingehen, aber das finde ich extrem spannend. Also nehmen Sie die Aktie auf die Watchlist drauf, das könnte eine extrem spannende Sache werden. Frederick, thank you for your time, and it was very interesting for me, I must say. I'm looking in this, I must also have a look a little bit on your SEDA files too, and what you usually was in the last few months. But from my standpoint, it looked very interesting, and hopefully your deal will close soon. Then yes. I think this can be. That you have a great logo on Space Food, so maybe this is also what your share price is doing.
Well, it won't take much. There's not a ton of stock. Also, I think there's only about 13 million free trading. So,
yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, thank you for your time. Happy holiday, and thank you.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
Bye.